Alright, in this video we're going to add in the contact form, and I thought it would just be easier to make a separate video on this because this can be a little bit confusing. So I'm going to exit out of our builder here, exit the dashboard, and what we're going to do is we're going to install two plugins to make this happen. So we'll go to plugins, click add new, and we're going to search for contact form 7. We'll click install now on that. Activate, and then we're going to do another plugin. So come to add new again. This one's called HT Mega. It's called HT Mega add-on. I usually find it just by typing in HT Mega. It's this one right here. So go ahead and install that. This is going to control the design of your contact form. Alrighty, so we are good to go. We can just leave this as is. What we're going to do is we're going to come to this new contact widget up here that's been added on our sidebar and click contact forms, and there will already be one contact form in there, so you can go ahead and edit that one. So it may look a little bit confusing, but essentially what you're looking at here is the label is the text here, your name, and then this little thing in the brackets that's highlighted right now, that's essentially the code for the field. So let me show you. I'll put a bunch of space here. If I were to put in telephone, and I click this telephone thing, so let me show you how I did that again. I click this little tel for telephone. I can name it whatever I want. I could say phone. I'm going to name this phone, and I could say that this is a required field, and I could insert the tag. So that's going to be a new field in my contact form for them to fill out. But they won't see any label on it if I just leave it like this. So if I want a label on it, I would have to specify that by typing in the code label like they have up here, specifying that it's a phone so that they know to enter in their phone number. And then after the field, I would type /label. Now this might be really confusing and kind of hard to understand. So my best recommendation is to save the changes and just play around with this so you can actually get a feel for what it looks like. Let me actually go and add this to a page. You don't need to do this. I'm just going to do this just for your benefit so that you can see what each different thing does as I edit it. So let me go and add in the contact form to a page. So you really don't have to worry about anything I'm doing here. I'm only doing this so I can pull open a sample page so that you can see my contact form here. So here's my contact form, right? We've got the name field. We've got the email field. We've got the subject field, the message field, and then we got the phone field. That's the one we just added, right here. Now, if I delete that phone field and I click save, and I refresh my form over here, it disappears. So again, if I were to add the telephone, and we call this field phone, we make it required, meaning that if they don't fill this out, they can't submit the form. And I click insert, notice it did not put a label. So let me save that and show you what that looks like. Okay, no label, there's nothing there. So they don't know what to fill out. So that is why we put the label. Now, you have an alternate option that you can do with contact form 7. If we click telephone, we require it, we call it phone. We could put in what's called a default value, and we can use this text as a placeholder. Okay, and we can insert that. Now you can see that makes it look a little bit differently because it puts placeholder phone inside of it. Now check out what this looks like. I kind of like the way this looks best. So now instead of having a label above it, we just have what the field is right there, and then once they start typing, it disappears. I kind of like that styling the best. So that's typically how I design my forms. So if we wanted to create forms like that, we could leave that stuff up there just in case we need it, but we can basically just start inserting our own thing. So let's just do a text field here. We'll require it and we'll call this, we could say we'll just say name. And then default value is going to be name. Use this text as a placeholder. We'll make it required field. Okay, so we'll put that there. followed by the phone number. If you want their email, I guess we'll create an email field too. So click email, require it. I'm going to change the name to email. Use it as a placeholder, insert it. And then we probably want some sort of like message field. So for that, we're going to do a text area. Click required, and we'll call this description. For the default value though, we'll say, well, for our siding, maybe we want to know repair. Actually, so we could do repair or installation. And we could insert it that way, but I got a better idea. So I'm gonna delete everything above here because we don't need that anymore. And these are all of our new fields. So let me show you what that looks like to start with. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. But I got a better idea instead of doing this big text area for this last field. So I'm gonna delete that, and instead I'm gonna do a drop-down menu for that one. I'll call this type. And you do one option per line, repair, install. Click insert tag, save it, and let's refresh. Boom, I like that a lot better. Okay, so there's our contact form. Now, we're done with that. We can save, well, we've got our changes saved already. Let's go back to the page we want to put the contact form on, which is our home page here. We'll click edit with Elementor. We can do this without even having to navigate to the page now that the page is created. And we want our form to be over here. Now, Elementor has a paid form feature where you can basically do this in one swoop automatically inside of Elementor, which is nice if you have the paid one. But I told you guys I didn't want to have to make you pay for anything that you didn't necessarily have to. So whenever I can, I'm giving you free alternatives, which is why we're kind of going in a roundabout way to get the same result. If we scroll all the way down, you're going to see this new section called HT Mega Add-ons. And we should see one that says Contact Form 7 right here. So now we can drag that over here where we want our form. We need to select our contact form right here. And now it's going to populate it. And we can go ahead and we can design this however we want. We can style it. There's different styles here. And we can come through and we can mess with the different areas. So if we click on style, we could mess with the paddings from, those aren't the ones I want to mess with. I think it's the input ones I want to mess with. Yes, it is. Okay, so we can mess with these right here. So this is going to control the height of the fields. Trying to see what this is controlling. Oh, that's controlling inside of the input. So we don't want to control that. Yeah, sometimes you got to play around with this stuff because everything controls something a little bit differently. Maybe it's a text area. Oh, there it is. So it's going to be the margin on the input field is going to make those closer together, which is typically what I like to do. All right, cool. Yeah, that looks good. Go under advanced, see if there's anything else here we want to mess with. I don't really like this, how they did this repair thing. So I may actually change this just to be a field because I don't like the way that looks. I'm going to mess with the button though first. I'm going to change the button typography to Poppins. We're going to make the size a little bit bigger. And I'm going to mess with the color as well. So we'll make the background color, let's make the background color maybe like a blue like that. And I'll mess with this border radius a little bit. Make it kind of round, I don't know. I'm just messing around with it. Not sure exactly what we're gonna like, and then we can change the hover color too. So that looks kind of cool. Okay, so we'll update that. Now I'm gonna go back to contact form 7 and I'm gonna change that field because I don't know if I can customize that field with this plugin. And again, that's just kind of one of the downsides of using a free version versus using you know, like their premium one built in. Oh, I'm also going to change the submit button so that it doesn't say submit. I'm going to make it say get free quote. Okay, so let's remove this repair install type and replace it with a text field. Okay, cool. So that should look pretty good, I think. You can see this tab, it says mail and it has a exclamation mark. That's because we didn't configure this. So you're going to want to come in here and here's all our tags from our form. So what we want to do is we want to say when someone fills our form, we want all of this information to come through. This is going to be the email it sends. So I usually like to put this in the subject line. Name is requesting a free quote. So when they fill it out, it's going to pull the name that they filled out in the contact form, and it's going to put that in the subject line. And then it's going to send an email to us with the name, phone, email, blah, blah, blah. And then the to email address, you can put either your email here, or you can put your client's email there once you have a client for the site. So we'll save that now that that's all configured. And if we go to our home page here and we refresh it, we can see that's looking pretty good now. And I could have probably messed with the text inside. Why don't I? Just to make it look a little bit differently. So let's go back to pages. Let's go back to edit with Elementor. Okay, and let's customize this contact form. I think it's the inputs, the typography on the inputs. Yes. So we can make that size a little bit differently. Maybe we want to switch it to our Poppins font as well. Put a little bit of padding in there, kind of like that. And then for the typography color, let's make that black. Oh, placeholder color. There we go. Make that black. All right, so that's looking pretty good. The only other thing I would do is if I highlight this whole section, right now I've got a minimum height set of 400. I think this would actually look better if I made it a little bit bigger. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to copy this and paste it above here. I'm going to say fill out the form below. I'll just say for a free quote. And we'll copy it. Fill out the form below. Something like that. Let's do a different margin on this one. And we'll make this one just a little bit bigger. So eventually you'll get really good at this stuff and you'll start to just kind of fly through this, kind of just like I am, like each different section. And maybe I would put more content under here or something, I don't know. But for now, if we refresh, wow, I mean, that's really starting to come together and look pretty nice, right? So that's the contact form. The only other thing is, depending on if you're doing this for lead gen or a client, obviously you'd swap the phone number out here. For call tracking, obviously we're using DialHawk. If you don't have DialHawk and you need it, reach out and I can get you a special link to get in on DialHawk at a special price. I know a lot of you guys in here already have DialHawk and you got the deal, so you can easily throw your tracking phone number there. Otherwise, if you're building this up for a client, you can just use their phone number, or temporarily you could use like a Google Voice phone number or your own phone number temporarily. So yeah, that's the form and how to get that all set up.